championships back in 2015 and 2018. The clinchers, of course, the Warriors and the Cavs in the LeBron James era going at it. 4 straight finals with the Warriors taking 3 of them. Warriors able to win that 2017 NBA Finals series over at Oracle. But a couple of nights that were very special in the Warriors franchise history in Cleveland and in that building in Cleveland as the Warriors go back and Steph Curry goes back and the Warriors trying to continue their dominance away from Chase Center to begin this season as Golden State comes in at 5-1 on the year. Cavaliers come in 2-4, and the Cavs are 0-3 at home. Still looking for their first home victory of the season. Cleveland off to a slow start after being a playoff team a year ago, and Donovan Mitchell coming over, and the Cavs, they play a little bit of a different style. The big man size, a big part of their game, with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, 2 guys that start. They kind of go twin towers at the start. And what a year Mobley was able to have a year ago. Donovan Mitchell coming over. They roll with Darius Garland and Max Strus, who signed from Miami. And so the Cavs, a young and talented squad now with Donovan Mitchell as the headliner. But as I mentioned, off to a little bit of a slow start here in the first 6 games of the season. Warriors, the opposite of that, not off to a slow start by any means whatsoever, and the Warriors getting the win in the opener of this road trip on Friday as they went into Oklahoma City and won 141-139 in a thriller. Stephen Curry, 0.2 of a second to go, the floating layup, and all the controversy that really wasn't, I guess, upon the replay review. Initially, that shot wiped away on a Draymond Green offensive basket interference call, and then the review and Draymond not impacting the shot, and the Warriors end up with the bucket counting, and that made 2 consecutive games for Golden State where they wind up winning with 0.2 of a second to go. Curry with the floating layup on Friday night, and then going back to Wednesday at Chase, Klay Thompson with the 17-foot jumper to give the Warriors the victory from down 1 to up 1 in that one. And you look at the Warriors, they are looking to stay hot after dropping their season opener at home to Phoenix. They've won 5 in a row, and the Warriors doing something that it took them 2.5 months longer to do this last season compared to this season, and that is win 4 road games. I had the nugget on Friday, the fact that the Warriors won they were able to win their 3rd road game after they were finished the season opening trip at 3-0 and swept the games that were played there in Sacramento and Houston and New Orleans. So they go 3-0 to start the year. They didn't win their 3rd road game last year till December the 18th. Well, the Warriors didn't win their 4th road game last year until January 13th. They were 4-16. They won in San Antonio in that game that was played in the Alamo Dome before about 67,000 fans. And so, yeah, you look at it, and the Warriors much farther ahead of last year's pace in a big-time way. They're winning the close games. They're getting contributions from the bench. More on all of that coming up here between now and 2:30 before we hand it off to Tim Roy as the Warriors and the Cavaliers get set to go at it. All right, let's get to our injury report. As always, brought to you by Boxer & Gerson, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. And it's good news for the Warriors on the injury report. Klay Thompson was set to warm up before a decision on his status was set to be made for playing or not in this game coming up in an hour in Cleveland. Klay Thompson is active for the Warriors. The Warriors' 3 inactives, Usman Garuba, Lester Quinones, and Jerome Robinson. So the 3 two-way players are the inactives. The Warriors also, much to the delight of Draymond Green, who said he wanted to see Trayce Jackson-Davis and Brandon Podziemski back with the young club, but the Warriors needed the young players back with the big club, providing some energy and some athleticism, and I think they probably could use Trayce Jackson-Davis's size in the game on Friday night against the Thunder, but he was sent along with Podziemski to training camp for the Santa Cruz Warriors So they are both active in this one, and Klay Thompson is good to go. Klay Thompson active, again, was set to be a game-time decision, but among the actives, so that a good sign for the Warriors there. The Cavaliers are going to be without Isaac Okoro in this game. He had been listed as questionable. Isaac Okoro had been a game-time decision, but will be out, and that's a rotation player for the Cleveland Cavaliers as they look to try and get their first home win of the season. So Okoro out for Cleveland, and you look at the Warriors, and they're going to be with Klay Thompson. So Golden State, for the most part, able to stay healthy to this point in the early going of the season. And so, yeah, the Warriors able to be in position to where they are trying to win another game on the road here to begin the season. All right, John Dickinson here on Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. That your injury report brought to you by Boxer and Gerson. Again, Northern California's premier workers' compensation law firm, helping injured workers get their lives back for over 40 years. For more info, visit boxerlaw.com. It is the Warriors and the Cavs coming up here on 95.7 The Game. Tim Roy on the call of that one. It's game number 2 of the 4-game road trip. Mentioned the Warriors getting the win at Oklahoma City on Friday, playing this game tonight in Cleveland, and then they'll be in Detroit, second of a back-to-back tomorrow. The Pistons right now are playing the Suns in a game in downtown Detroit, and that game has been mostly all Phoenix this afternoon. Suns leading it 100-86 with just about 7 minutes to go in that one. The Suns have not played well and are all of a sudden really banged up. No Devin Booker, as Booker had been out except for just a couple of games, including the opener for the Suns, and Bradley Beal still has yet to play for Phoenix in that one. So it will be the second of a back-to-back for both Detroit and the Warriors as they go from Cleveland to Detroit. Short trip there, and the Pistons are playing at home as we speak. And so the Warriors will see them tomorrow in what will be a 4 o'clock tip right here on 95.7 The Game. First of 2 for the Dubs and Cavs. As you look at the Warriors, these two teams going to play each other in short order. Warriors playing Cleveland tonight on the road, and the 2-game season series is going to wrap up in less than a week, as Cleveland will be the Warriors' opponent when the Warriors return home for their next home game on Saturday. That'll be tipping off a 6-game homestand for the Dubs. And so these teams are going to see each other quick first week and a half of November, and then that's going to be a wrap as far as the regular season goes for the Warriors and the Cavaliers as they face off against each other here. I mentioned Golden State winning 5 in a row, including the 4 in a row on the road. 4th time in franchise history for the Dubs that they have started a season winning their first 4 road games. The last time they did it, it turned out to be a really freaking good season for the Warriors. They did it in the 2015-16 season when Golden State started 24-0 overall en route to the 73-9 regular season campaign. So the Warriors, we talked about the road woes from a year ago, and just 11 total wins. They can get almost to half of that if they can get the win in this one tonight. But yeah, 5-1 overall for Golden State, 4-0 on the road, and paramount as the Warriors in this stretch of 7 of 9 to begin the season away from Chase Center before they come back and have 6 straight, which lead right up to Thanksgiving week when the Warriors will be next on the road after this trip when they're in Phoenix before the night before Thanksgiving, and then more home games and more games in California, and they go to Sacramento again. So this really the toughest stretch as far as travel that the Warriors are going to have for a significant chunk of the beginning of this season. And so far the Warriors making out really well this season to this point as they are able to get off to a hot start that everybody deemed necessary with Chris Paul coming over and with just the way that things have gone for the Warriors and went last year. I know Golden State trying to remove themselves from last year. We are going to hear from Chris Paul coming up here, a few minutes of his post-game session from Friday night in Oklahoma City. As you look at the game that Chris Paul was able to have and the impact that he was able to have on the game with 13 assists, just 1 point, still struggling to make a three, 1 of 21 overall from three-point range for Chris Paul in the first 6 games for the Warriors, but able to just really connect not only the veteran players that are part of the championship core, but also the younger players and the veteran players that are part of the bench group. So we'll hear from Chris Paul coming up here on Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game, and he has helped to lead a bench that has been terrific to this point this season, and we make that now our eye on the stats, which is brought to you by the Goodman Eye Center. When it comes to your vision, be sure to go with a winning team. Go with Dr. Daniel Goodman and his team at the Goodman Eye Center, the choice of champions. Schedule a free consultation at thegoodmaneyecenter.com, and we hone in here on the Warriors bench as the Dubs reserves have outscored their opponents by an average of 11.5 points per game in the first 6 games of the season, 69 points. It's 249 to 180, the Warriors' advantage as far as the bench group goes against opposition's reserves. That averages out to a 41.5 to 30 bench point advantage, and it was on full display in Oklahoma City. They're really, in a lot of these games, there haven't been, you can almost count the bad bench stretches on one hand. It was the first half against Sacramento, really in both games, and that's been about it. Maybe the late third quarter stretch in Houston for the Warriors. But you look at these first 6 games, and for the most part, the bench has been incredibly productive, and the lineups that Steve Kerr has chosen to use have been really productive. And again, I think Chris Paul's been the guy that's tied all that together. So your eye on the stats for this one: Warriors outscoring their opponents on the bench 249 to 180. Again, that averages to 41.5 to 30, and it was 57-37 as far as the bench points the other night in favor of Golden State as they were able to win that game in Oklahoma City. And a big part of that, Dario Saric and Jonathan Kuminga. Dario Saric pouring in 20. Who had the Dario Saric revenge game on tap for the Warriors in Oklahoma City on Friday night? But Dario Saric definitely did. As he knocked down 4 of 7 from 3, 6 of 9 overall in 20 minutes, and the Warriors needed those 20 points in what proved to be an extremely high-scoring game as the Warriors were able to prevail by 2. And how big was Jonathan Kuminga for the Warriors? They needed his 19 points as well, and Kuminga stuck with it after a tough beginning to that game and a tough first half. Kuminga in the second half, some key buckets for the Warriors to stabilize what looked like was a third quarter that had the potential to get away from Golden State. He finished with 19 points on 9 of 15 shooting, and a lot in the paint, a lot of putting his head down and getting to the bucket and hitting some pull-ups that were critical to the Warriors' victory. So, yeah, Saric and Kuminga, Chris Paul. How about Gary Payton II's defense down the stretch as Steve Kerr went offense-defense for different points of that game at the end? And Gary Payton II among that group of potential finishing players for the Warriors in close games, as Steve Kerr has said. Going to be by committee who finishes. I think it is going to be Chris Paul a lot. It was Chris Paul and Gary Payton II in the game on Friday night with Steph and Clay and Draymond, and then Steve Kerr able to go with the offense-defense substitutions, which is another luxury, being able to get Wiggins and Kuminga in there for their length on a couple of possessions and be able to use a timeout and get Curry and Chris Paul back in for the offensive possessions as well. So impressive stuff for the Warriors via the bench. That your eye on the stats brought to you by the Goodman Eye Center. All right, let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Chris Paul as Warriors Live rolls on here on 95.7 The Game. Make sure you join me after the ball game as well, as I'll be taking your phone calls and your text messages reacting to this one as the Warriors trying to make it 6 in a row overall and 5-0 on the road for Golden State in the early part of this season. But, let's hear from Chris Paul as he met with the media after the Dubs win at OKC on Friday night.
In the discussion relayed about if that was or wasn't a goaltender or whatever they
involved in the discussion. We can't make the decision. We just trying to figure it out like everybody else.
What was, we're trying to figure out what was it, a giddy, grabs the net, that's why.
I don't know, they said it counted, so on to the next one.
So what do you think of, obviously the credit in season tournament because they wanted to make this event, but just this type of environment and intense of a game first couple days into it?
Honestly, the in-season tournament is great. I think it's going to be extremely competitive. But I tell you, whether that was an in-season tournament game or not, it was going to be the same way. You know what I mean? Like, you got two very competitive teams that, we on the first game of a road trip, and, we need wins, and I'm sure they're thinking the same thing.
It's only been a handful of games. What do you think about the way that you guys are closing?
I'm a big believer in piling up wins. We still trying to figure out defenses and all this stuff, with a short training camp and the new bodies and people coming in and stuff like that. What was it? I forgot who we was playing against. That was the first time we did our press break offense. You know what I mean? So it's certain things that we still putting in and sort of figuring out. But we want to win games and figure that out at the same time.
Steve was mentioning he thought you guys will take the next step when Wiggins couldn't even Gary really kind of insert himself athletically, Wiggins did late tonight on the glass.
Yeah, and they doing great, but also me too, especially on the offensive end. But that's what I said, it's crazy being in team sports for so long. Things could be a lot different if we were trying to figure this stuff out right now and we were losing. When you winning games, just everybody's spirit is better or whatnot. We know we still got a long way to go on the defensive end, execution, all of this, because the lineups are changing. And when you got a core group who's been together so long, they got certain things that they just, we know this will work. They know this will work, but incorporating myself, JK, and all that stuff, it takes time.
That's when you're talking about yourself. You got 13 assists now. You're talking about your jumper right now.
Yeah, shit ain't going in. You know what I mean? But good thing about it is I know that that's not the normal. You know what I mean? But it's crazy to think about. I could score 1 point or 2 points and we still win the game. So it's a nice luxury to have.
Chris, one night it's Moses, one night it's Jonathan, tonight it's Dario. How cool is it to be a part of the team? We're looking at this bench. I think he really needs tonight.
Yeah, that's just the depth of our team, and you need that over the course of a season. And these guys know they won 73 games one time, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that they didn't win championships, you know what you're going to get out of Steph, Clay, Dre, and different guys or whatnot. I think us building up the confidence of our bench in that unit all season long is going to be big.
You were with them kind of on the front side of what they were building, obviously Shea and the piece that you were with. What do you, as you kind of look from the outside, see what this group that's been built around Shea?
Shea is Shea. He gonna do what he does. But I look at them guys like my family. Especially Shea and Lou. And Bays and a number of those guys, Schroeder. But they were with me. That was the first year I lived without my family. So those guys, we super tight for life. So it's crazy to see Lou. I just be so happy for them. Obviously, I'm going to compete against them all the time, but Mark does a great job with them, along with Mike Wilkes and the coaching staff and Donnie Stratton, all these people, man. They do a good job instilling confidence in all the guys. Like Lou played with us. He was a rookie, right? Played in the playoffs and everything. So they do a great job of, making sure everybody has confidence.
Did you see what the world seems to start seeing about them? They're kind of, really on the move.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's hard in this league because, I mean, even last year they were really, really good. But, when you lose those close games, I talk about a lot of times it's teams that'll lose 12 games that's decided by 5 points or less, and that's the difference in the playoffs at times. But they're going to be competitive every night. They're going to win games or whatnot because they play hard and they well coached.
Yeah, so Chris Paul there with some high praise for the Warriors' last opponent, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, yeah, that's a young and extremely talented squad that's going to be formidable, I think, in the Western Conference sooner than later. And still with a number of draft picks ahead and the ability to use some of those draft picks to make some trades and cement their roster. But I'm fascinated to see where Oklahoma City winds up as far as the playoff race this year. And, they were able to really hang with the Warriors and play well, give them all the Dubs can handle without their best player and all-star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the Warriors are going to see more of Oklahoma City in pretty short order, as the Warriors will take on the Thunder 2 times on this upcoming homestand. Warriors didn't have many of the back-to-back against the same team last year. In fact, they didn't have any back-to-backs against the same team last year, not a single time, home or away. There were other teams that had as many as 7 or 8 of those instances, and the Warriors do have a couple of those coming up at home. With Minnesota a week from today and then a week from Tuesday, and the Thunder coming in to play a 2-game set on the 16th and the 18th. So 4 of those 6 games at home for the Warriors are going to be against the same opponent 2 times. Final couple of minutes here, Warriors Live on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you here as we get you closer to the Dubs and the Cavaliers. Mentioned the fact that Klay Thompson good to go for Golden State, so he will start with Stephen Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney. Warriors set off the bench: Chris Paul, Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Dario Saric, all available. Isaac Okoro out for the Cavaliers in this one, and then Brandon Pajemski and Trace Jackson Davis are among the active players, as well as Corey Joseph, the 13 that will be in uniform and available for the Warriors in this one against the Cavaliers. Cavs have struggled a little bit to score, 26th in the NBA through the first 6 games at 106 per game. The Warriors top 6 at 118 point game per game for Golden State. Also struggling to shoot the ball has been the Cavs, 25th in the NBA in shooting to this point, and not shooting the 3-ball well either. So I think this is the kind of game the Warriors defensively, if they're locked in and engaged, they can take advantage of the Cavs if they can contain Donovan Mitchell and really force them into some misses and try and get out and run and use the fact that the Cavs want to play with a lot of size against them. But, of course, the size a key as the Warriors can tend to be a little bit on the smaller side. All right, taking it to the bank, brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises. Steph Curry keeping things rolling. What a start to this season for Steph. I think he keeps it rolling in this one. 4 3-pointers or more for Steph as he's had in each of these games. All right, Tim's got the call next. Tim Roy, talk to you after this one. Dubs and Cavs, 95.7 The Game.
Hey, guys. Matt Coker here with West Coast Men's Health. Most guys don't realize that their ED started in their 40s. Symptoms of erectile dysfunction can be slight and subtle, but by treating your symptoms at the onset, you can avoid severe ED in the future. Mild ED is easily reversed at our clinic using our acoustic wave technology. Most men have accepted that ED is a part of getting older, but that's far from the truth. Our acoustic wave therapy has helped thousands of men restore function, whether they're in their 40s or their 80s. West Coast Men's Health also treats chronic pain, including